Robert Martinez learned processing tomato production from his father, who established the operation in 1988, when California growers were transitioning from hand-harvest cannery tomatoes to mechanical harvest paste varieties requiring precise field-to-facility logistics. His father had grown 180 acres, selling tomatoes to regional canneries at commodity prices averaging $68 to $82 per ton with loose brick standards. Martinez expanded in 2008, increasing to 840 acres of H9553 and AB2 hybrids bred specifically for mechanical harvest and high solids content. Developed Morningstar contracts paying $92 per ton for fruit meeting strict bricks and color specifications, and invested $1.2 million in GPS-guided harvesters and real-time tonnage tracking systems. But processing contract sophistication created new vulnerabilities. When weather prevented optimal bricks development, specifications developed for ideal growing conditions became rejection criteria that commodity markets never imposed. The mechanical harvester Martinez operated cost $485,000 new in 2021. The machine featured cutting blades severing vines at ground level, conveyor systems transporting plants through pneumatic separators blowing away foliage while retaining fruit, electronic sorters using optical sensors removing green and damaged tomatoes, and bulk loading elevators filling double trailers in 90-second cycles. The system processed 10 to 12 acres hourly under optimal conditions when fruit released cleanly at proper ripeness. But accelerated harvest attempting 14 to 16 acres hourly risked capturing underripe fruit mixed with optimal fruit, degrading average brick scores that processing facilities measured across entire trailer loads. The economics were processing contract dependent and brick sensitive. At Morningstar, premium rates of $92 per ton for processing tomatoes maintaining minimum 5.2% bricks and deep red color, EI value greater than 25 on colorimeter scales. Production of 84 million pounds. 42,000 tons. Generated $3.864 million in gross revenue. Transplant costs ran $420 per acre for mechanically planted seedlings. Fertilizer applications optimizing fruit development. $385 per acre for nitrogen and potassium. Drip irrigation delivering precise water volumes. $340 per acre. Pest management controlling tomato pinworm and whiteflies. $195 per acre. Our mechanical harvest including equipment rental and labor. $580 per acre. Hauling to processing facility, $8 per ton or $336,000 total. Combined costs, $1,920 per acre. Times 840 acres equals $1.613 million total, against $3.864 million revenue. Operating profit, $2.251 million. After equipment depreciation, actual net income around $1.18 million. But if bricks degradation caused fruit to fall below 5.2%, triggering processing penalties of $12 per ton for dilution compensation, costs increased by $504,000, and profit dropped to $676,000. A 43% margin reduction from temperature conditions affecting sugar concentration that growers couldn't reverse through any agronomic intervention. At 4:40 a.m., Martinez had mobilized the extended harvest schedule. The mechanical harvesters would operate in overlapping shifts, one machine running 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., covering 18 hours, a second machine 2 p.m. to 10 a.m. covering 20 hours, processing 70 acres daily combined. The accelerated pace meant harvesting fruit at 4.8 to 5.0% bricks in morning blocks that would normally be delayed 4 to 6 days to reach 5.2 to 5.4% concentration through natural ripening. But waiting meant already harvested blocks currently at 5.1 to 5.3% would overripen to soft texture requiring immediate processing before enzymatic breakdown made them unsuitable for paste production. His daughter Elena arrived at 6:20 a.m. to help coordinate the facility delivery logistics. 34 years old, holding a food science degree from UC Davis, she'd worked the operation for 9 years while recognizing that processing tomato production had evolved from farming into cold chain logistics management, requiring expertise in thermal processing, evaporator engineering, and aseptic packaging systems that had nothing to do with growing crops. Elena tracked data showing California processing tomato operations consolidating from 680 growers in 2010 to 280 in 2024, with average farm size increasing from 441 to 1,071 acres. Small operations were disappearing as mechanical harvest investments and processing facility coordination requirements created barriers favoring either large operations with dedicated delivery slots or complete exit from tomato production. Dad, we're harvesting at 4.8 to 5.0% bricks to protect volume completion. If Morningstar's evaporators can't compensate for dilution, you will deliver marginal fruit that might trigger penalties. That's the gamble. Delay harvest to protect brick standards and lose 30% of crop to overripening, or accelerate harvest accepting low bricks and a bet on thermal processing concentrating paste to specification. Then maybe we've built a system with no weather flexibility. Large operations running 2,500 plus acres have dedicated evaporator contracts allowing custom concentration runs. We're delivering to shared processing lines with standardized parameters that specs never anticipated 68 degrees Fahrenheit overnight harvest conditions. Martinez understood. His daughter was identifying the structural vulnerability. Mid-sized processing tomato operations delivered to facilities serving multiple growers, but lacking the volume and contract leverage to negotiate custom evaporator settings that could compensate for weather-affected bricks levels. By August 21st at 8 p.m., the accelerated harvest had completed all 840 acres. Bricks readings across delivered tonnage averaged 5.0%, 0.2% below the 5.2% minimum, but within range that extended evaporation could theoretically address. Morningstar's thermal processing operated multi-effect evaporators, heating tomato pulp to 190 to 210 degrees Fahrenheit under vacuum conditions, removing water content while concentrating solids from incoming 5.0% to finished 28% paste in 8 to 12-hour cycles depending on feed concentration. The processing had worked as designed, but 0.2% lower incoming bricks required 6% longer evaporation time, consuming additional steam energy. Morningstar's quality manager called August 22nd the extended processing to achieve 28% paste concentration from 5.0% feed instead of standard 5.2% feed had increased their energy costs 60 cents per ton processed. Morningstar would invoice the $12 per ton dilution penalty as contracted. $12 times 42,000 tons equals $504,000. But Martinez's tonnage had delivered complete. All 84 million pounds processed into paste meeting grocery chain specifications for Hunt's and Contadina canned tomato products. The penalty was financial, not quality-based, a distinction that contract language didn't recognize. Final season economics after the weather compressed harvest. $3.864 million revenue minus $504,000 dilution penalty equals $3.36 million net revenue against $1.613 million operating costs. Operating profit, $1.747 million are after fixed costs. Net income $767,000 versus projected $1.18 million. a 35% reduction from overnight temperatures that prevented natural bricks concentration during a critical 12-day harvest window. Robert Martinez continued processing tomato farming through 2026, managing harvest timing and bricks optimization, while watching margins compress as water costs increased 38%. And Morningstar contract prices remained flat at $92 per ton for premium grade. In spring 2027, Morningstar announced new sourcing requirements. Processing tomato suppliers must deliver minimum 120 million pounds annually beginning in 2028, a 43% increase over Martinez's current 84 million pound production. Meeting the requirement meant expanding to 1,200 acres and investing $2.8 million in additional harvesters, irrigation infrastructure, and GPS coordination systems. He met with Elena in April 2027 to discuss expansion feasibility. The analysis was stark. $2.8 million infrastructure investment against current net income of $767,000 annually meant 3.6-year payback assuming zero bricks penalties and perfect weather conditions. Assumptions recent seasons had proven unrealistic. Elena had zero interest in inheriting debt-financed expansion into an industry where processor consolidation was systematically eliminating mid-sized growers through volume requirements. Elena, we either scale to meet Morningstar's minimum, or we exit processing contracts and compete in fresh market tomatoes at $480 per ton, but with 85% higher labor costs and 60% volume shrinkage from quality standards. Dad, both options depend on terms we don't control. Expansion locks us into Morningstar dependency. Fresh markets mean competing without the mechanical harvest infrastructure that justifies our equipment investments. Robert Martinez sold his 840-acre processing tomato operation to a regional agricultural corporation managing 8,400 acres across San Joaquin Valley in fall 2027. The sale, $22,000 per acre for productive tomato ground, plus $840,000 for equipment, generated $19.32 million gross. After settling debt, Martinez netted $9.8 million. Elena took a position with Morningstar as a thermal processing engineer, using her UC Davis food science education and family tomato knowledge to optimize the evaporator systems and brick specifications that had consumed her family's operation. California's 300,000 acres continue producing 13.5 million tons of processing tomatoes annually across Central Valley. Harvesting with self-propelled machines, loading trailers every 60 seconds, processing through steam evaporators, concentrating 5% solids to 28% paste, and supplying 95% of U.S. canned tomato consumption to grocery chains demanding standardized concentration for Hunt's, Contadina, and Del Monte products. The mechanical harvesters process fruit regardless of farm ownership. The thermal evaporators concentrate paste regardless of who built the infrastructure. The aseptic packaging proceeds regardless of which families developed the production systems. The industry persists through 24-hour logistics precision that family operations created but can no longer sustain profitably at scales too small for dedicated processing slots and volume commitments processors now demand. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve these histories of American agriculture's transformation. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and whether you understand the processing coordination pressures crushing specialty crop growers. Thank you for keeping their stories alive.